Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final episode of the Sports Hub this semester. I'm Ben Zitouni, and joining me today are Jacob Sennholz and Cole Walters. So, guys, with it being the last show, what's been your favorite sports moment from this fall?
I'll take this. Well, for me, it was the Brewers. I went to Game 6 in NLCS, and that crowd was electrifying. Just seeing the home crowd get behind their team like that. I know we lost in 7 games in NLCS, but for me, it was the Brewers having that spectacular year this year.
Yeah, same. I mean, is there really any other answer besides for the Brewers this year? I mean, definitely not the Packers, and Badgers have been disappointing as well. So that Brewers season was fantastic. You know, too bad it ended the way that it did, but we got 8 months of highlights, and you couldn't really ask for anything more than that. So.
Exactly.
Brewers for me as well. I mean, like Jake said, what else are you going to do? The Packers have been disappointing. Badgers football had a very down and disappointing year. The Bucks look like they're on have a promising season ahead of them, as well as Badgers basketball. But it's definitely been the Brewers for me, and I can't wait for next season.
Another highlight for me was calling the Pointers football victory over the
Oshkosh
Titans with you, Ben. That was pretty fun. So.
Well, on this final episode, we'll be talking about Pointer Sports, the Badgers basketball team, the Packers lost to the Cardinals, the Milwaukee Bucks, and our buy or sell segment. The number 1 ranked Pointers men's hockey team defeated UW River Falls 3-1 Friday night in their conference opener. The visiting Falcons got on the board first with a goal by sophomore Blake Anderson at the 3:11 mark of the first period. However, the Pointers responded back at the 6:57 mark with a goal from sophomore Stephen Quagliata to tie the game at 1. Junior Logan Fredericks made it 2-1 Pointers with the goal at the 6:10 mark of the second period. Junior Luke McElhinney scored at the 17:38 mark to give the Pointers a comfortable 2-goal lead late in the second period. The Pointers held on for their 9th win of the season. Sophomore Connor Rickman recorded 14 saves in the win. The Pointers were back in action the following night on the road and defeated UW Superior 4-0. The Pointers took an early 1-0 lead with a goal by senior B.J. Duffin just over 2.5 minutes into the game. The Pointers added two goals from junior Luke McElhinney and sophomore Colin Raver in the second to take a 3-0 lead into the final period. Sophomore Carter Rue just scored just over 5.5 minutes into the third period to complete the 4-0 shutout of the Yellow Jackets. Rickman made 24 saves to secure the shutout. The Pointers improved to 10-0-2 on the season. So, guys, how long can the Pointers continue this hot start? Jake, you're the hockey expert on the show, so how long can they continue their hot start?
I would call it more than a hot start at this point. They've already got 12 games under their belt. They look to win 3 more this upcoming weekend. And they do have 2 ties on the season, but they remain undefeated. And ever since that kind of disappointing, kind of slow game, that 2-2, I believe it was, or maybe 3-3 tie against Ryan University very early on in the season, these guys have really turned things around and picked it up and been just playing a solid game all around. You're getting goal scoring, you're getting great defense, and you're getting great goaltending by Connor Rickman. Rickman already has, I think, 2 or 3 shutouts on the season. And again, that is coming from, I mean, he only had 14 saves in one of the games this past weekend. When you can allow a talented goaltender like Connor Rickman to only see 14 saves, that's really good for you, especially when you're scoring 3 to 5 goals a game.
Yeah, I agree with Jake. He touched on basically everything. When you have a strong defense like that, only allowing 14 shots on Connor like that, you're going to see success out on the ice. They're sitting at 10-0-2 right now. I mean, to me, their competition rate is probably UW Eau Claire this year. Maybe St. John's. Other than that, this team can go places this year, and their undefeated record right now will, I feel, continue on.
Yes, sky's the limit for this team. Well, they're back in action this weekend on the road, playing Concordia University Friday night, and then heading to Illinois to play Lake Forest College Saturday night. The Pointers women's hockey team lost 2-1 to Marian University Tuesday night. After a scoreless opening period, the Pointers took a 1-0 lead with a goal by sophomore Cassie Newcomer just before halfway through the second period. The Sabres then tied the game up at 1 at the 4:58 mark of the third period. Katie Mayeroto scored the game winner for the Sabres with just over 8 minutes left in the game. Freshman goaltender Olivia Schultz made 18 saves in the loss. The Pointers fall to 5-4-1 on the season. So what can the Pointers learn from this game, Cole?
just bounce back from a loss. Focus on like the goals they allowed. Maybe focus on defense a little more. Minimizing the goals that are being scored on them. I don't know, just focus on defense and find a way to bounce back from a loss.
And minimizing the goals being scored is huge. That's exactly what I was going to say too. Much opposite of what the Pointer men's hockey team has been able to do. The women's team, unfortunately, not really playing quite a solid defense in front, allowing quite a few more shots. And of course, you have a freshman goaltender in there, and that always adds to the element, no matter who you are, if you're a freshman. So. Definitely, like you said, Cole, just try and play a little bit more solid defense. They are generating some offense, but they're losing more higher scoring games.
Yeah.
So, again, kind of an average season. Look to win another game, get it back above 500, and see what you can do. Maybe make a postseason run.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they're back in action this weekend, hosting Augsburg University Friday night and visiting St. Mary's University Saturday night. The Pointers women's basketball team lost a tough game against the 16th-ranked Illinois Wesleyan, 77-72 Monday night. The visiting Titans started out on a 6-0 run, but sophomore Brooke Geyer made a layup and a three-pointer to help the Pointers get within 1 point of the Titans. The Titans would then go on a 10-0 run to end the first quarter, leading 19-8. Junior Carly Serrato hit a three in the second quarter to start a Pointers comeback, and sophomore Bailey Collins got an and one to cut the lead down to 33-26 in favor of the Titans. Sophomores Taylor Greenheck and Kellen Schmidt would add on to the effort before the half, shrinking the Titans' lead down to 8 points at halftime. The Pointers had a huge third quarter, scoring 28 points to lead by 3 at the end of the quarter. The Pointers led 72-70 with a minute to go in the game, but the Titans scored 7 straight points to win the game, 77-72. Bailey Collins led the Pointers with 26 points and 10 field goals. The Pointers are now 2-3 on the season. So, guys, what are your thoughts on the season so far? What do they have to do to kind of bounce back from their rough start? Jake?
Yeah, well, again, 2-3. It's not terrible. It's definitely not great. Obviously, this was a close game. Some high-scoring efforts. You got 26 points being scored by a single player. I mean, that doesn't happen all the time, especially in women's basketball. So to see a leader like that and somebody who can kind of dominate the floor, that's going to be really important for this team carrying forward. And I think, again, it's early on in the season. You just try and make adjustments based on what you've seen in the game. And again, you didn't get blown out in this last game. You only lost by 5 points, I believe. So they're right in these games, and they just got to keep making steps and improving during practice every day, and it'll translate to the court.
And the Pointers have faced a tough schedule so far. Last week they played at St. Thomas and got beat by 21 points. This time around they played a number 16 team, Illinois Wesleyan, and only lost by 5. And they had a 2-point lead with about a minute to go. Right now, they can carry these tough games. They're going to learn from them, carry them into the conference. There's a very tough conference they play in. It's going to help them during the year. They're going to learn how to close games. This is a very young team too. It only bolsters their confidence to go into conference play and compete with these good conference teams like Whitewater or Eau Claire, teams like that.
Yeah, and with their 2-3 start, it's still relatively early in the season, but they have more than enough time to turn their season around and hopefully start playing better, winning those tough games before the conference schedule comes around.
Agreed.
They will be back in action next Tuesday when they host North Central College. After a quick commercial break, we'll be back with Badgers basketball and Packers football.
UW-Stevens Point is home.
It's a university where professors know your name and get you involved in research.
They inspire us to realize big dreams.
At UW-Stevens Point, sustainability is what we stand for.
Our beautiful campus encourages exploration, developing new fields, and problem solving for the real world.
It's a great place to launch your career.
UW-Stevens Point is home.
Apply today at uwsp.edu.
Welcome back. The 12th ranked Wisconsin Badgers basketball team rallied to beat Rutgers 69-64 Monday night. The Badgers were down by 5 at halftime, but outscored Rutgers 43-33 in the second half to win the game by 5. Ethan Happ led the Badgers with 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. The Badgers improved to 8-1 on the season. So, guys, what are your thoughts on the season so far? They've started out hot. They had a pretty good showing in the Atlantis tournament over Thanksgiving break, and I think sky's the limit for this Badgers team.
Well, first of all, think about what you just said starting this segment. The 12th ranked Wisconsin Badgers. Who would have thought at this point this season, especially after the type of year they had last year, that they would even be in the top 25, let alone 12, making their way through a schedule that hasn't exactly been easy so far.
Yeah.
And, they're just plugging right along, are already ranked number 12. As you said, they just had a great tournament. So, things are trending upward, and Greg Gard has these kids playing phenomenally
And
right now.
it just goes to show how well this Badgers team can be when they're healthy. Last year, Brad Davidson was hurt a lot. Kobe King was out for the season fairly early in the season. He had his injury, and it just goes to show another thing is how well Ethan plays or can play when he has a supporting cast around him, when he's not a one-man band and has to do everything by himself.
Right.
Agreed. Injuries killed the Badgers last season. Dimitri Trice. Been
Exactly.
having a phenomenal year this year. He's averaging 17 a game. He's the best three-point shooter in the NCAA right now. This team regained all those starters that they lost last year, and veterans all around. I picked them to win the Big Ten Conference this year. They're still competing with Michigan State, Ohio State, but with that leadership they have, they can do things this year. And as you said, 12th ranked Badgers.
Yeah.
Who would have thought we'd be saying that right now?
Especially, like Jake said, especially after the season they had last year.
I think Michigan is going to be a pretty good program.
Oh
this
yeah,
year,
I forgot
too.
about Michigan in there.
But beyond that, the three-point shooting, I think, is one of the biggest changes from last year.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and one of the most effective things for the Badgers team this year. It opens up things inside for Ethan Happ. It doesn't allow teams to double-team him anymore like we saw basically all last season. And, of course, the three-point just allows you to put more points on the board, which you always need. So
It helps that Trice is back, too. That way Davison last year took a lot of shots. It relieves pressure off of him, too, with Trice back in that lineup.
And
Very true.
With Trice back, he can kind of take the one role as a point guard, and Davidson could either play the one or he could slide to a two,
Exactly.
play as a shooting guard, and get all those charges that he likes taking. Which
Yeah.
is, you can't underestimate what that does for a team. A couple weeks ago, Davidson he took a charge and it pretty much won the game for the Badgers because the Badgers were able to run out the clock, and I can't remember who they were playing.
North Carolina State.
North Carolina State, yeah, and they wound up winning the game by like 3. So
Yep.
what he does, beyond words, he's a great basketball player.
Oh yeah.
And most of the time, if you can draw 2 charges in a game, that's really good.
He had 5.
He drew 5.
Yeah, he drew
that's
5.
just incredible. So, and of course, that drew a little bit of criticism from nationwide media people, I guess. Or of course, it's always going to. But it's like if you must not have actually watched the game, because if you watch the game and you watch how Davidson plays, he earns those charges, and
Yes.
he works really hard, and he does get in position. They're not just bad calls or anything like that, which a lot of people, I think, were trying to make that out to be.
Yeah.
Well, the Badgers will look to get their 4th straight win Saturday when they take on in-state rival Marquette on the road in Milwaukee. The Packers were stunned by the Arizona Cardinals at home on Sunday, losing 20-17. The Packers got on the board first with a 13-yard touchdown pass from Aaron Rodgers to Davante Adams on a 4th down. The Cardinals then tied the game up at 7 with the touchdown of their own late in the second quarter. Mason Crosby made a field goal just before halftime to give the Packers a 10-7 lead heading into halftime. The Cardinals took advantage of the Packers' offensive struggles in the third quarter to take a 17-10 lead into the 4th. Aaron Jones tied the game at 17 with an 8-yard touchdown run with just over 5 minutes left in the game. The Cardinals got a field goal on their final drive of the game to take a 20-17 lead. The Packers marched down the field on their final drive, but Crosby missed the game-tying field goal as time expired. This was their first home loss of the season. Aaron Rodgers completed 31 of 50 passes for 233 yards and a touchdown pass. Aaron Jones only rushed for 36 yards and a touchdown on 11 carries. Davante Adams led the Packers in receiving 8 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. So, guys, what went wrong for the Packers in this game?
Once again, the offensive struggles. To me, Aaron Rodgers holds on to the ball maybe a little too long. Whether receivers are getting open or not is, we don't know. But it looks like he's held on the ball too long, not finding the open receivers. Number 2, just the offensive struggles. They should put up more than 17 points on this Cardinal defense.
Exactly. Offensive inefficiency. And listen, the Cardinals, statistically, eye test, record-wise, anything else you want to say. They are the worst team in the NFL.
The Packers should have won this game by at least 3 scores.
Oh,
At least.
no
And
doubt.
Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, I should say, were favored by 14 or 14 and a half
Yep.
points. And this is the first time that Rodgers has ever lost as a double-digit favorite at home, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah.
And it was just, honestly, all around a pathetic showing. I didn't even turn on this game until midway through the third quarter because I thought it was either going to be a terrible game because the Packers would be blowing the Cardinals up, or it'd
Yeah.
be terrible because the Cardinals would be beating the Packers. And I turned it on in the third quarter, and the Packers were losing by, I think, 4 points at that point. And I just seriously couldn't believe it. I watched the rest of the game in awe, and I know we're going to – if you want to talk about Mike McCarthy briefly here, or –
Yeah, so Packers made a head coaching change. I'd say, what would you say, 2-3 hours after the game on Sunday, the Packers put out a press release saying that Mike McCarthy had been fired as head coach of the Packers. Joe Philbin's going to take over the rest of the season on an interim basis. So I guess, what do you guys think of the move? There's been a lot of talk of the Packers should have just waited until the end of the season. It wasn't right for the Packers to fire McCarthy with games still left in the season. So, Cole, your thoughts?
What those people are saying, I kind of agree with them. I thought they should have waited till the end of the year. Now they got to get used to the interim head coach for a little bit. To me, like with the legacy I feel McCarthy had at Green Bay for being there for so long, I mean, I feel you got to give him some respect, like have him stay till the end of the year and then make your move. I don't know. I feel like he's done too much for the franchise to be let go with 4 games left to play.
Well, here's where I sort of disagree. I agree that it was disrespectful in the way that they did it on Sunday, that close after the game. You could have maybe waited at least until Monday, especially
Tuesday when they have their
especially
off
after
day.
given, like you said, the legacy, the Super Bowl, the fact that he was there for 13 years, the fact that he had the second best winning percentage of any coach over the time that he was here. All these things equal up to Mike McCarthy being a great coach, and he is a great coach, and I think that he will find success somewhere else. However, his time was up in Green Bay. It was clear that he was gone at the end of the season. So from my aspect, you remove him with 4 games left. It gives you a small chance to evaluate Joe Philbin if you actually believe he's a real candidate for head coach.
Yeah.
Give him a chance to evaluate him. And not only that, it gives you a jump start on every other team in the league trying to make that decision of who your guy is going to be. And they're going to be interviewing guys that aren't even necessarily on other NFL staffs right now. So you can start that process immediately. You can already be bringing guys in and start evaluating guys instead of waiting until the end of the season and then you're in a race with any other team that's looking to hire head coaches or coordinators or anything like that. So I liked the move because, again, I think everyone in Wisconsin knew that McCarthy was done after the season, regardless of how the season was going to end. If I would have changed anything, I would have done it maybe Monday or Tuesday, not Sunday. But I do like the fact that he's gone with 4 weeks left.
And I think that this change isn't – I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers go on a little run these last 4 games because Tuesday is the players' off day, and they had an optional lift schedule in the weight room at the stadium. And Joe Philbin's press conference on Wednesday, he said this is the most involvement. They had the most number of players in the weight room for that optional lift on the players' day off in a long time. So that just goes to show that the players are taking notice that the Packers still care, the higher-ups still care, and there's still a lot of ball game left. There's 4 games left in the NFL, and they're eliminated from playoff contention, but not exactly mathematically. It'll be hard for them to get a playoff spot, but they still have pride to play for, and I'm sure Aaron Rodgers would like to at least win 3 out of these 4 out of these last 4 games.
Well, and you hear it all the time, too, the term culture change. And I think that's what the Packers really need. And instead of pushing that off and trying to implement that culture change at OTAs or the beginning of next season, you're starting it right now. You're starting it this season, and it can be carried through the summer and into next season. And I think that what you just said about the optional weight room and almost everybody being there, I think that proves that they're on the track to changing things.
Well, the Packers look to bounce back Sunday at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Kickoff is set for noon. After our final commercial break, we'll be back to talk some Milwaukee Bucks and have our buy or sell segment. Welcome back. The Milwaukee Bucks defeated the Detroit Pistons 115-92 last night, Wednesday night, to get their 16th win of the season. Eric Bledsoe led the Bucks with 27 points. Giannis had a decent game, scoring 15 points, leading the Bucks in rebounds with 8. The Bucks improved to 16-7 on the season. So guys, how important are these next two games for the Bucks? Their first game being hosting Golden State at home Friday night, nationally televised game on ESPN. Jake?
Well, I don't know how important they are, but I mean, they're big opportunities. I mean, anytime you can knock off the Golden State Warriors.
We're having a little bit of a down season.
They definitely are, and that's a chance for you to really jump down their throats right away at the beginning of the game. And the Warriors, yeah, like you said, right now they're having a lot of scuffles within themselves, and I think that they're going to end up figuring things out by the end of the season. Again, it's hardly the first week of December right now. So, again, that's why I don't want to say that these games are too important for the Bucks, especially given the fact they've been playing so well all season.
Yeah.
But it is always a chance to make a statement, and I expect that they're going to come out and play hard and try and dominate the champs.
And they already beat Golden State earlier in the season on the road in the Bay Area, so it'd be huge if they can get the win against Golden State at home tomorrow night.
Correct.
Cole?
It's a big opportunity for the Bucks. Like you said, they obliterated Golden State in Golden State. Coach Bud will have that team ready for tomorrow night. He's always got them prepared every game. He seems like an offensive coach, but he'll have the Bucks ready. I feel they're sitting at 17-7 or 17-8, something like that right now. So obviously a solid start to the year. The Bucks are gonna. I mean, they'll still be a top 3, top 4 seed, but as you said, it's not that important of a game. But it's still a game that you want to go out and win. You want to go out and win every game. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what both you guys have said. Giannis is playing as, I'd say, one of the clear MVP frontrunners. But it'll be interesting to see if they can play as well as they did tomorrow night against Golden State, like they did the first game. As I mentioned, the Bucks look to continue their winning ways tomorrow night when they host the Golden State Warriors. Now, to wrap up the show, guys, let's do some buy or sell. First one, the Pointers men's hockey team will break the team's longest unbeaten streak at 28 games. Jake?
I'm gonna say yeah, because obviously this does this harken back to last season? Or
I think it does.
I would assume that it does. And the thing about an unbeaten streak is you can have those ties in there, which the Pointers do have 2 of already this year. So it gives you a little bit of a caveat, but yes, I do think that this team has the ability to reach 28 games unbeaten. 29 to eclipse that.
Yeah, I'll buy that too. They've looked impressive this year. They're off to a hot start. With their leadership they have, definitely, I'm buying that, no doubt.
I'll buy it too. Once again, another season of Pointers men's hockey and another season of them being a national championship favorite. Yeah. It's going to be a great season. They're a lot of fun to watch so far this season. The Pointers women's basketball team will win at least 15 games this season. Cole?
I'm going to sell that. I feel like they're too young of a team. They still got a lot of growing up to do, a lot of learning to do involved. It's a learning process for them. I don't think they reach 15.
Yeah, and when you start, 2 and 3, there's not a ton of games to make up after you lose 3 out of your first 5 in order to get to that 15 number. I can kind of see this team somewhere around 13, 14 games maybe, but 15 is going to be, I think, just out of reach.
Yeah,
I'll buy it. Like Cole said, they are a young team, but I feel like they're going through growing pains. They're having some of those early season struggles, but I have a feeling that they're gonna band together and start playing better and win some ball games. Keeping it with the basketball, the Badgers basketball team will make it to the Elite 8 this season. I'll go right ahead. Buy it.
Oh, I'm definitely buying this. This team's a Final Four competitor.
Final Four?
Oh, yeah.
Final Four he jumps to. Okay. Just because you guys both bought it, I guess I'm going to sell it. I do think that they're going to make the Sweet 16, but there's a lot of good college basketball teams. And this Badger team, pretty young, pretty untested when it comes to March Madness, except for one Ethan Happ. So I think they're going to win a couple games, but maybe next year is when they make the deep run. Although Ethan Happ will be gone next year, so you never really know. I'll be happy though. If they make
I'm sure you'll be glad if the Badgers prove you wrong.
Yeah, I'll be happy, more than happy to be wrong on this one.
We got Nate Reavers to step in for Happ once he graduates. Reavers played great defense this year.
We were talking about that Atlantis tournament. earlier when we were talking about the Badgers that I think it was that semifinal or quarterfinal game on Friday. He had something like 9 blocks,
Oh,
which
yeah.
tied the school record of 10. Yeah, so another successful big man in Wisconsin basketball. Last one, the Packers will make it to the NFC Championship game next season under a new head coach.
I'm gonna.
Jake,
sorry,
you're shaking your
Jake.
head.
I just can't buy that. I don't see how you, even with a new coach and a new attitude and a new scheme and everything like that, I just don't see how you go from what I'm assuming is probably going to be a 6-win season, 6-9-1 season, to an NFC champion, especially when the NFC is full of such good teams. The Saints are going to be great next year.
Yeah.
The Rams are going to be great next year. The 49ers are going to be good next year. The Bears are probably going to be the best team in the division. You just keep going on down the list. So, unfortunately, no. They're not going to make the championship.
Yeah, I agree with Jake. I'm gonna have to sell that. It's a new coach. I don't think they have very much talent on offense. Yeah, I got to sell that.
I'm selling it too as of right now, but if they make some drastic improvements to the defense, mainly in the secondary with the safeties, then maybe my answer will change. But they definitely need to make some improvements on the defense and the offensive line too. Well, that's all we have for you for our final show this semester. I'd like to thank Jake and Cole for joining me today. And a big thank you to our technical staff and all their hard work to make this show possible throughout the whole semester. It's been a long one, but fun. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at SBTV UWSP Television or follow us on Twitter at SBTV_UWSP. Also visit the UWSP homepage to locate all your Pointers athletic information. The Sports Hub will be back in the spring. Thanks for watching. Happy holidays.
We can't. What are you doing, Ben? We can't skip over
Ben.
this. This is Ben's last show. And of course, Ben has been a huge part, massive part of SPTV here for his entire time at UWSP. He's the reason I got into SPTV. I made friends with him when I was in class one day, and he was like, "Yeah, come on down, check it out. We could use your help." And now I've been here for 2 years and enjoyed every bit of it. So Ben, good luck to everything that you do. And
yeah, it's been a fun last couple of years, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't happy to be done with school.
well,
Oh yeah. I mean, who wouldn't be happy to be done in school?
I know you're gonna trade in this SPTV desk for Channel 9 or 7 or something. I mean, you're definitely
CNN, Fox Sports, who knows?
You're
Ben,
going.
it's been fun working with you. I've only been
Thanks,
here for a
buddy.
year, but you've been a great friend of mine.
Jake,
So
it's been a fun ride. I'll still be around. You guys got my number. The rest of these guys and everybody else will be back in the spring. Have a happy holidays, guys, and stay warm.